Hi guys, welcome to the session. Today's session, I'm talking about. I'm trying to look through the XAT 2023 paper that happened this Sunday, and I'm trying to give you a logic for the solutions to the XAT paper to the verbal ability section. I'll be doing the DM section separately. Cons I think a lot of people have solved, so मैं ज़्यादा solving अभी नहीं करूँगा उसका. देखते हैं अगर time मिलेगा तो maybe couple of days down the line, and XAT still has not released this thing the answer key to cons I'll do maybe a couple of days, but verbal and DM a lot of people are requesting me, so I thought I'll do it so that people can watch it through this video and through the this thing and since it's I mean I'm not taking any pressure on myself to solve every question for you in this. जिसमें क्लियर आंसर्स दिख रहा है मैं बता दूंगा, और जिसमें क्लियर आंसर नहीं दिख रहा है जिसमें we are seeing two answers or there's some ambiguity in the question. In terms of the answer, not ambiguity, मतलब एकदम कुछ क्वेश्चन में वोबल में एकदम क्लियर आंसर दिखता है, so you can actually understand that this is the answer. And some questions you have 70% की ये वाला है. Sometimes the questions that I might think a different way from the way you're thinking, so maybe, but basically plus minus 2-3 questions from what I tell you, you'll be able to find out your scores to the paper. So I'm just sharing the video with you. Decision making I'll do, and let's see. If I get time tomorrow, I'll do. Most probably I'll do tomorrow. So I guess you can see this slideshow now. So I've also got a sheet. So if I look at this, and we'll try to see how many options we can remove. So just have a look at this question. So इसमें अगर देखोगे तो the question says oil painting did to appearance what capital did to. So now if you try to analyze oil painting, what oil painting did to appearance is basically it kind of would shore up the appearance. It would improve the appearance of the paintings. So what capital did to social justice won't work. Social setup also does not work. Social reality, construction, relations. So construction also, social construction कुछ नहीं होता है, social construct हो सकता है. So this also seems unlikely. तो B और E के बीच में पहले blank के बाद, and it had reduced everything to the dash of objects, right? So even if we look at even if you look at the second this thing, it reduced everything to the minuteness of objects. Objects can be large also and small also, so this does not seem right. Randomness of objects, question mark. What do we mean by randomness of objects here? Then understanding of objects, reduce everything to the understand. This also does not seem. Setup and understanding, both these are out. So B और E के बीच में हम लोग थे. Randomness of objects, social. What capital did to social reality? Now, if you try to analogize this first statement itself, oil painting did to appearance what capital did to social relations. Looks about right based on the first statement. And if you look at the last one, all reality was mechanically exchangeable by its materiality, right? So yes, equality suits better, exchangeable, mechanically measured by its reality. everything became dash because everything became a commodity. Everything became exchangeable. Again, exchangeable suits better. Then everything becomes commercial. Saleable is okay. Useless is wrong. Expensive is okay. Everything became expensive because everything became a commodity. So it's confirmation that D is wrong, C is wrong, and so between B and E, you will take B. E as the answer there. So this looks quite all relative mechanically measured is again the right statement. Measured mechanically located is wrong statement again. So इसमें E answer आएगा मेरे ख्याल से. I think E should be the answer here to the first one. The second one, I'm not sure of this because I tried to look for this paragraph. और इस paragraph में the correct order of this paragraph is taken actually from a book, and the correct order of the paragraph is not really visible. So the singularity is nearby. It's the book called The Singularity is Near by Ray Kurzweil. So इसमें अगर it's a book by Penguin Random House. और इस बुक में the first line of the first paragraph starts with "I am not sure when I first became aware of the singularity." So one is the starting sentence. And I'd have to say it was a progressive awakening. Is the next sentence he has written in the actual book. So I'm reading from the book here in this this thing. You can search for the singularity is near. The book name is The Singularity is Near, and it is a book by I think because the correct order according to the paragraph written by the author is 1-4, and 1-4 is not there in the options. So and the author is Ray Kurzweil. So on Penguin Random House Canada, penguinrandomhouse.ca, you can actually Google this passage, and you can see that Ray Kurzweil is the author of this book. And after if you go onto the Penguin Random House page, you will see that after the prologue, which is about the power of ideas, prologue के बाद immediately first paragraph of the first passage of the first chapter यहीं से start होता है. So I'm not sure. It starts with according to the book, it starts with 1, then it's got 4. I'd have to say it's a progressive awakening. But अगर यहाँ पे देखते हो तो if you read 1, 3, and I think जैसे 3 or 5 देखोगे, but actually I've become aware of a transforming event looming in the first half of the 21st century. Just as a black hole in space dynamically alters the pattern. So ये जो looming event in the first half of 5 is what is following it. So 3, 5 is a follow-up, and you can see that it's not there anywhere. So I think yes, 2 doesn't seem concluding. 5 might be concluding, but 3 has to be before that. I mean, between अगर ये option को force करेंगे तो E लेंगे उसमें 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If they force, because 2 can't be the ending sentence. वो भी देखोगे. In the almost half century that I've immersed myself in computer and related technologies, I have sought to understand the meaning and purpose of the continual approval that I've witnessed at many levels. तो ये as an ending sentence तो कहीं fit नहीं हो रहा है. So and 4 can't be a starting sentence. I'd have to say it's a progressive awakening. 3 can't be a starting sentence. So B, C, D तो ऐसे ही हट जा रहा है. right? BCD 3-5 है तो 3-5 से क्या फर्क पड़ता है? मतलब 4 can't be a starting sentence. Option D is not the right answer. Can't be. It can't start with 4. I'd have to say it's a pro. It was. I mean, you're referring to something, and a parajumble question. It can't be that way. So maybe they just mistyped it. So the correct order is 1-4. According to the book, it's 1-4-2-3-5. 1-4-2-3-5. But in the this thing, so ये XLR के zip पे देखना पड़ेगा. If they decide on कि नहीं ये question को हम लोग delete नहीं कर रहे हैं, so then the only thing that makes sense is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, where you are talking about where you can maybe justify placing 4 between 3 and 5, right? So if they choose to keep this question as it is and not remove this question, not delete this question, then they'll go with option E then in that case, right? The third question now, this is about more people signed up for Harvard's online courses in a year. Let's have a look here. More people signed up for Harvard's online courses in a year, for example, than have attended the university. It's 377 years of existence. So if you read this paragraph, this paragraph is completely talking about technology and how it's overtaking the traditional businesses, right? In the same spirit, there are more unique visits each month to the WebMD network, a collection of health websites, than to all the doctors working in the US. In the legal world, 3 times as many disagreements each year amongst eBay traders are resolved using online dispute resolution than there are lawsuits filed in the entire US court system. On its 6th birthday, the Huffington Post had more unique monthly visitors than the website of the New York Times, which is almost 167 years of age. So, examples दिए जा रहे हैं of changes. In 2014, the US tax authorities received electronic tax returns from almost 48 million people who had used online tax preparation software rather than a tax professional. The architectural firm G&K used a group of autonomous flying robots to assemble a structure out of 1,500 books. So they replaced the architects. The consulting firm Accenture has 750 hospital nurses on its staff, while Deloitte, founded as an audit practice 170 years ago, now has 2 lakh professionals and its own full-scale corporate university set in a 7 lakh square foot campus in Texas. So if I look at this, the author of the above passage is trying to conclude something by citing different pieces of evidence. What could the author be trying to prove? So BCD are very easily removed. BCD are very easily removed. और यहाँ पे the option is between A and E. D mark क्या है? D किस तरह से mark किया है? Now see, new organization forms are emerging. Organization forms का बात कहाँ हो रहा है यहाँ पे? अच्छा, ये that logic can also come in. Yeah, but that's not an organization form. I'll not go with D in this. So it's between A and E for me. It's very close. So are you going with professionals or automation taking away jobs? That's the thought we have to inculcate. Rajusri says, Deloitte example is no mention of tech. Deloitte एग्जाम्पल पे नहीं है और उसी तरह से ये जो प्रोफेशनल वाला आंसर है how professionals are getting replaced by technology, this answer is not getting supported by the Harvard example. Yeah, so it's really difficult to the author of the above paragraph is trying to conclude something by citing different pieces of evidence. What could the author be trying to prove? Yeah, I see the logic in D now more than A and E. A और E में फर्क है कि A में they are talking about professionals getting replaced and E is talking about automation taking jobs away. But I think D is the better answer in this. Yes. D looks as the best answer for me because it's supporting all the angles. So what would Howard need to do? Let's think about it this way. If you think about new organizational forms emerging, a university like Harvard is selling more online courses, so it will obviously have to look at this. But don't just because I'm saying D, I'm telling you एक दो question मेरा wrong होगा इसमें, maybe दो तीन question wrong होगा. So give me that pinch of salt and don't celebrate so much on that. The proof of the pudding is the eating. जब final results आएगा तभी समझ में आएगा. But what they took. So my initial thought when I looked at this question on my phone was A or E, but now I see. I mean, the last two examples, consulting firm having hospital nurses on its staff. This is not about taking away jobs, and this is also not professionals getting replaced by technology at all. ये दोनों नहीं है इसमें. So I see the answer, the logic in D. So most likely I would put it as 70-80% D in this case. It would not be if I'm solving this paper. I would with this thought process I would go with D, but I mean when I'm counting my marks, I would say कि चलो इसमें I have a little bit of doubt in this answer, and we need to think about this, right? So इसके बाद the next question है, इसको अगर देखते हो ये easier है of course. इसमें 1 2 3 4 स्ट्रेट आ रहा है. 2 to 3 is very clear. 3 following 2, the year 1953 in that year, and 4 following 3, 1 preceding 2 is very clear. So E बहुत clear है इसका 1 2 3 4. Let's go to the fifth one. So इसमें what do you take? I think I think we'll go for C in this question. Now, if we C looks the best answer in this question. See, it's not. They're not dependent on long cosmic time scales. They're dependent on the same laws. So the B does not take into account the laws that you are talking about. So that's the problem with B. What this says is that the laws apply, and when you give the laws enough length of time, they will ultimately result in the same things across all levels of all constants of matter and energy. Right. So the long the long time scale angle is not just the only thing in this paragraph. The paragraph is about the laws being the same. So C would be, fundamental laws undergo change from atom to the universe. D तो एकदम गलत है, उल्टा बात कर रहे हैं. All phenomena in the universe fundamentally occur spontaneously. ये भी उल्टा बात कर रहा है to what the paragraph is saying. Everything in the universe fundamentally occurs randomly. A भी गलत है एकदम. So it's basically B and C are the only two closed options in this. And उसमें B is missing the fact that phenomena in the universe are fundamentally dependent on long cosmic time scales. They're not dependent on long cosmic time scales. They are dependent on fundamental laws. So this is a clearly applied, clearly very thoughtfully created option. The fundamental word यहाँ से उठा के उसको इस option में misplace कर दिया है. This is something that these exams do a lot. Fundamentally वाला angle को यहाँ पे misplace कर दिया. They have misplaced it, and so they are trying to see whether you get caught by the words without understanding the meaning. So C is the clear answer in this. I think I'm 100% sure of this. I would be very, very, very surprised if that gives a different answer to this. Right, I'll have to do a big double take on that. So let's go to the next one. In the future, hydrogen may form a significant part of energy systems. Today, it is mostly used in oil refineries and fertilizer, but in the future, hydrogen could power our cars, heat our homes, and fuel industry. A recently McKinsey study suggested that in less than 25 years, hydrogen could account for 18% of global energy consumption and reduce carbon dioxide emissions for current levels by some 6 gigatons. Which of the following sentences will most logically complete the above excerpt? Again, very clear answer in this. D रहेगा इसका आंसर. बहुत क्लियर है इसमें, कोई डाउट ही नहीं है. Because he's talking about the change, so he has to conclude. I mean, he's talking about components of the change, and he has to conclude that statement. Anything else does not fit in there. The impact of such a change in the energy system would be huge, potentially generating. Hydrogen कैसे बनता है? Hydrogen can be made through this B तो नहीं आएगा. Despite the potential 90% general population, this is not something which is closing the paragraph. You're looking for a closing sentence. A closing sentence or a completing sentence will always give you a closure to the idea. It will not extend the idea. I mean, it's like what? I mean, you have to think about it. This thing, for example, if I have this notepad, for example, with me. If I have this notepad with me, let's say I have this notepad, the only thing that completes it is the cover. Without the cover, it will not work. So you have to think about it that way. That what completes the idea completely. So in this case, D is the clear answer. I think there's no two thoughts about this. I'm not sure whether they give you I don't remember whether they give you a challenge window or not. So let's look at the 7th question. When facing various challenges, people in today's digital world heavily rely on private online information seeking behavior. So इसका आंसर जो है, I guess you guys have read the question, so I'm not giving you reading time. So इसका जो आंसर है is the advertisement answer. So option A is the right answer in this case. Yeah. Reason is that if you look at this question, what is the question asking? So what the question is saying is that when facing various challenges, people in today's world heavily rely on private online information seeking behavior. Individuals who experience depression will often attempt to understand the predicament and seek remedy by searching the internet for depression related information and treatment. A recent report, so individuals who experience depression will often attempt to understand the predicament and seek remedy by searching the internet for depression related information and treatment. Let's see. Let me just read this once more. A recent report says that there exists evidence of many searches comprising the word depression during and just after the election in country Y. So it can be concluded that the election is experienced by many people in country Y as a truly psychologically traumatizing event, and as such, as being potentially depressionogenic. Which of the following statements most seriously weakens the conclusion drawn in the passage? So we first need to fix the conclusion. When you solve a verbal question, there's a process to do it. So you first fix the conclusion. It can be concluded that the election is experienced by many people in country Y as a truly. So this is the conclusion, the last sentence, right? A and B are both close in this, yeah. Yeah, B is also pretty close, actually. Conclusion is that depression, that elections in the country are a psychologically traumatizing event. Actually, B is a better answer than A in this. A does not strengthen it. A strengthens it. JV 678 says A strengthens it. So how does A strengthen the argument? Yeah. A strengthens the argument because it's saying that my initial reaction was B to this, but I guess was A to this, but I guess on rereading this again, I was solving this half asleep yesterday night once I got the paper from someone. So वो भी मैं फोन पे देख के कर रहा था, तो it was not this thing. So I made a rough answer key, जिसमें मैं A पे गया था इसमें. मेरा A का लॉजिक was that एडवर्टाइजमेंट जब आएगा, किसी भी चीज का एडवर्टाइजमेंट आएगा तो उसका सर्च बढ़ जाता है. So the search, he's basing the conclusion. He's basing the conclusion on what? He's basing the conclusion कि searches बढ़ गए. Recent report says that there exists evidence of many searches. Right? Searches बढ़ गए. तो searches किसी चीज का ऐड करोगे तो उसका भी सर्च बढ़ जाता है ना. So that's the logic for A. But when you guys say that B is also very strong, I would accept that. Because अगर depression हो रहा है, तो डिप्रेशन के ड्रग्स तो ज्यादा बिकेंगे ना. Yeah, I can't conclude on this. मुझे conclusion नहीं मिल रहा है इसमें. This versus that. See, constant across the years, that means when you say constant across the year, across the years, it means that election does not change that number of sales. So अगर इलेक्शन के कारण डिप्रेशन बढ़ जा रहा है तो इलेक्शन के बाद सेल बढ़ जाना चाहिए ना ऑफ एंटी डिप्रेशन ड्रग्स. सो बहुत क्लोज आंसर इसमें इधर भी का. Depression. Because A is attacking the evidence. He is basing it on the evidence that that searches have increased. So searches increase का election के बदले तो कुछ और भी reason हो सकता है. Actually B better लग रहा है मेरे को. Because इसको अगर देखोगे ना एक एंगल से और देखो, डिप्रेशन रिलेटेड एडवर्टाइजमेंट बढ़ जा रहे हैं ड्यूरिंग जस्ट आफ्टर द इलेक्शन कंट्री वाइड. तो क्यों बढ़ जा रहे हैं? वाई डिप्रेशन रिलेटेड एडवर्टाइजमेंट इंक्रीजिंग? एडवर्टाइजमेंट क्यों इंक्रीज करता है? जब किसी चीज का कोई इवेंट हो रहा है या कुछ हो रहा है तब उसका एडवर्टाइजमेंट इंक्रीज कर रहा है. तो आई गो विद 70% बी ऑन दिस. आई लीव 30% ऑन द क्वेश्चन सेटर. उसका माइंड फ्रेम क्या था, उसने क्या सोच के बनाया इसको. Right? B is clearly this thing it clearly directly as Radishi says, B is directly attacking the argument completely. So there's a direct attack on the argument from B. Yeah, but and एक और थॉट आ सकता है ना के बारे में कि इन द फर्स्ट प्लेस ऐड क्यों बढ़ रहे हैं? बिकॉज डिप्रेशन ज्यादा हो रहा है लोगों को. आई मीन जैसे पोल्यूशन बढ़ जाता है तो पोल्यूशन के बारे में दिल्ली गवर्नमेंट ऐड निकालने लगती है. तो क्यों बढ़ गया ऐड? ऐड बढ़े इसलिए पोल्यूशन बढ़ा कि पोल्यूशन बढ़ गया इसलिए ऐड बढ़े? So this could be an effect of actually. So in a way, it's supporting the argument कि इलेक्शन के टाइम डिप्रेशन ज्यादा हो जाता है लोगों को तो इसलिए एडवर्टाइजमेंट भी बढ़ जाता है. तो you can argue that also. Yeah. So B is what I would change my answer. I mean, in my rough answer sheet, which I made before the event, I had marked this as A, just on that thought. But when you actually go into the double dimension thinking in this, then B comes out as the answer. So I'll go with, I mean, I'm getting more and more sure of B in this case. 80-90% देखो मैं कैट भी जब सॉल्व करता हूँ तो मेरे को अगर वो बिल में 25 या 24 क्वेश्चन सॉल्व किया तो 20-22 सही आते हैं, 18-19 वो आरसी में 18-19-20 सही आते हैं. सो आई वुड एक दो गलत आता है बिकॉज नोबडी कैन गेट 100% करेक्ट in these questions. But ठीक है, चलो I'll go with B in this. मल्टीपल थिंकिंग के साथ और तुम लोग के साथ डिस्कशन करके भी B ठीक लग रहा है मेरे को इसमें. Right. Let's look at the 8th one. Thanks, X. I'll do more of this if you want. I'll definitely do more on more of this if you guys want. The exam will begin at 2 PM होगा. फर्स्ट गलत है. 8 का आंसर क्या डालना है? B डालना है. ओके, फर्स्ट गलत है. While entering into the college building, you don't enter into the college building. While entering the college building, so 2 भी गलत है इसमें. We are looking for what is the correct sentences. 5 is also wrong. Amitabh Bachchan is married to Jaya Bachchan, not married with. So any option containing 5 is gone. Option A, D and E are gone. BC बच गए. और बी और सी में तुमको 1 और 6 के बीच में चूज करना है. I've been working on this project for 3 weeks. Is correct. The exam will begin at 2 p.m. from on January 8th. So from 2 p.m. nahi hoga ye. So B is the right answer in this 8th one. So यहाँ पे incorrect sentence खोजना है 9th में. So the boss accused her employee of stealing information. For stealing information nahi hoga. So 1 is incorrect, definitely. So 1 is incorrect. So we are looking at 1 5 or 1 2. He is good in playing the piano. Let's see whether 3 is right. The India of 2022 is very different from the India of 1947. This is correct. The government is connected to providing food, people with food, committed to providing people with food. ये भी सही है. So 3 4 तो सही है. 2 और 5 के बीच में डिसाइड करना है. Good in playing the piano ठीक है ना? Good at होगा ना? Good at playing the piano. Yeah. The boss will better discuss the issue with the employee concerned. ये सही है. 2 सही है. हाँ तो 1 5 ही रहेगा इसमें 9th में. Yeah. 9 will be 1 5. Let's look at the 10th one. The leave policy is bound to be unpopular either with the management or among workers. If the leave policy is unpopular with the management, it should be modified. We should adopt a new policy if it is unpopular with the workers. So, two dimensions दिया है इसमें. If the above statements are true, which of the following must also be true? So एकदम illogical option जो उसको हटा देते हैं पहले. If the leave policy is popular amongst workers, then we should adopt a new policy. Why will you do that? So option D हट जा रहा है clearly. D is removed clearly. What about E? We should attempt to popularize the leave policy among either the management or workers. दो कंडीशन दिया हुआ है. अगर मैनेजमेंट से अनपॉपुलर, if it's unpopular with the management, it should be modified. And if it is unpopular with the workers, we should adopt a new policy. There are two conditions, right? So C looks the best to me. If the leave policy is popular with the B, अगर देखो जो लोग B बोल रहे हैं, if the leave policy is popular with the management, then we should adopt a new policy. Why? The condition for adopting a new policy, it should be unpopular with workers. So there are two triggers in this. The modification of the modification trigger is when it is unpopular with management, and when it's unpopular with workers. When it's unpopular with workers, you have a new policy. Adopt a new policy. If it's unpopular with management, so if it's popular with management, then you should not modify it. It cannot become, we should adopt a new policy. So B is wrong. Right? And A, we should modify the leave policy. When should we modify the leave policy? When is what is the condition of modifying the leave policy? The condition is it should be unpopular with management. So A में unpopular with management, it's not talking about whether it's popular or unpopular with management. right? So A is not the right answer. So C, I would go with C in this case. Because what will happen in C is that, yeah, so yeah, it's written that the leave policy is bound to be unpopular either with management or among workers. तो दोनों में से एक में unpopular तो रहेगा ही, एक कंडीशन ये है इसमें. तो अगर मैनेजमेंट से अनपॉपुलर तो मॉडिफाई कर दो, वर्कर्स में अनपॉपुलर है तो चेंज कर दो, न्यू पॉलिसी ले लो, राइट? सो we should modify the leave policy. Modification will not reduce its popularity with the management. Now, the modification ka precondition is it should be unpopular with management. So A is not fitting in, right? C को अगर देखोगे, पॉलिसी मॉडिफाई हो रहा है, दैट मीन्स अनपॉपुलर विद मैनेजमेंट हो गया. और अनपॉपुलर विद मैनेजमेंट अगर हो रहा है, if it's unpopular with management and you modify the policy and it then becomes unpopular amongst workers, then you have to change the policy, right? So C would be what I'll go with in this question. B is not right. एक मिनट, B देख लेते हैं एक बार. एक मिनट, just wait. If the leave policy is popular with the, अच्छा, either or context में, actually B is the straight answer. I was missing this. The condition is leave policy is bound to be either unpopular with management or workers. So if the leave policy is popular with the management, actually B is the right answer in this. B is correct because it's straight. If the leave policy is popular with the management, according to the first statement, it will be unpopular with the workers. Right? If it is unpopular with the workers, you should replace it. So B is the straight answer. या तुम अपने पेपर के ऑप्शन से देख लो A B C D कौन सा है, बट इस वाले ऑप्शन में B is the right answer. This again, I was confused when I was doing it last night, half asleep. So let's look at the next one. आंसर क्या है? 4-5 दिन में आ जाना चाहिए उसे. I'm not an expert on punctuations, so I would desist from answering this question. And तुम लोगों को पॉइंट है इसमें? B सही लग रहा है. तो France for their is wrong. D में France for their chefs and philosophers. France for its होगा ना. Italy is famous for their composers and musicians. Their नहीं होगा. India is famous में their नहीं करोगे ना साथ में. तो D तो गलत है. Yeah, DM questions I'll discuss tomorrow. We'll do it tomorrow. So D is not right. B रहेगा इसका आंसर. Yes. And obviously full stops तो नहीं आएगा ये वाला. B is the right answer in this. Let's look at the 12th one. एक दो क्वेश्चन का लीवे दे देना मेरे को, मतलब don't come and kill me if I have got a couple of questions wrong in the solution, but I'm going through the logic and I'm also trying to show you how to ये punctuation देखनी है, लेकिन sentence तो change नहीं कर सकता ना, मतलब sentence तो गलत नहीं कर सकता ना। हाँ, decision making कल करूँगा। Decision making में I'm on much stronger footing than some of these verbal questions. 12th question देख लें। ट्वेल्थ का यही रहेगा। This will be A clearly. No second thoughts on this. You're talking about a conclusion to the passage. Meaning from work, option B is gone. Change is the only constant. ये वो generic statement है. Does not fit into this thing. Technology is destroying families and communities. ये बहुत ही extreme है. That's not a conclusion he's trying to draw here. Pandemics का relation ही नहीं है इस question में. So A इसमें तो कोई doubt नहीं है. I think A should be right here. या प्रद्युमन SSC plus CAT कर सकते हो, तो SSC में थोड़ा सा डिफरेंस रहता है from CAT. The extra things you'll have to do. चलो ये RC करते हैं फिर। इसमें पैराग्राफ्स, मतलब मेरे टाइपिस्ट ने पैराग्राफ्स लगा दिए, so just read it according to your paragraph structures. So for this you have to understand what a hyperobject is. A hyperobject is something which is very difficult to touch and feel, and hyperobjects have much wider time-space boundaries than human beings, right? So according to the passage, which of the following will be closest to the idea of a hyperobject? So first one, how technology company contributed to the development of mobile phone technology. Two conditions for a hyperobject that should be clear to you. One condition is very difficult to touch and feel. Second condition is they have much wider time-space boundaries than human beings. Okay? So first is wrong. Second is very, very clearly the answer. Because this has both the conditions. It has much wider time-space boundary and also very difficult to touch and feel. Temperature fluctuates because of seasons. You can touch and feel. Delhi is so cold now, I can feel it. So it's not a hyperobject. Right? So very clearly be in this. ह्यूमन सेंट्रिक को पढ़ लेते हैं. सो ह्यूमन सेंट्रिक का पहला यूजेज यहाँ पे आ रहा है इस पॉइंट पे. Cutoff will always give you maybe around 6 to 7 marks. Normally cutoff हो जाता है. To be safe, I say that you should get 9+. But 6-7 marks individual section cutoff हो जाता है. So let's come back to this. So human centric. Some of us continue to believe that global warming is blown out of proportion. It is not a serious threat. Even those who understood hyperobjects have yet to figure out right response to them. Lack of understanding and response for corporations to climate change is evident. Now, this is the where you start reading closely to understand what is human-centric. Is evident from the fact that most of businesses have remained largely human-centric. Some businesses have adopted green practices, voluntary or involuntarily. These efforts to attempt to reduce emissions through better energy efficiency. Though laudable, the efforts have failed to make any significant dent at the global level. The planet continues to get warmer. So basically, when he's using human-centric here, आगे कहीं और लिखा है human-centric उसने. If you look back at the question, so we should preserve nature for. I mean, human-centric is something which does not take into account hyperobjects, according to this, according to what we understand here. ठीक है, थोड़ा सा ड्रॉप कर सकता है. Even the paper was slightly more difficult than last year, so there can be a little bit of drop in that. तो इसमें अगर आओगे तो A is very clearly we are looking at not human centric. So something which should be hyper object. Human centric is kind of the opposite of hyper object. So if you look at A, it's very clearly centered on humans and human generations, future generations. C is also the same, and D is also the same, and E is also the same. So it's very clearly B in this question. Yeah, very clearly B because बाकी सब completely humans पे center कर रहे हैं. A, C, D, all four of them are completely centering on humans. So B, I would go with B 100% on this. 15-20-100% में मेरा हो सकता है एक गलत हो जाए. Give me that freedom. Only that I'm doing this session. But so you mark when you calculate your answers based on my answers. Because I was looking at some of these answers given by some of the institutes, crazy. 5, 7, 8 wrong answers I could see by institutes. So that's why I thought that I'll do this session for you guys. So which of the following statements is not in consider the author's views as expressed in the passage? Not in consonance. $15 का A रहेगा आंसर. Patent should be respected. He's against private and capitalism. He's against that clearly. No? Private property gives individuals a chance to create legal rights to own more and more, subject to very little constraints. The evident income inequality is witnessed across the world. So if you ask the author कि COVID vaccine पे patent लोग ने बनाया है, should it be respected? What do you think the author will say? So 1 is not in consonance with what the author is saying. Can you see that? 3 is also not in consonance. So 1 and 3 तो clearly नहीं consonance में. What about 2? Trading of shares in the free stock market should be promoted. Do you think the author will be very? It's not mentioned about this thing, but you have to try to think about what the author will agree with. Look at this sentence. The word free has come to mean that there are no constraints on individuals. And the word market has come to mean that buying and selling are the primary mechanism. Everything is a transaction. So he's against everything being a transaction. And business as usual. I mean, the stock markets are part of business as usual. Huh? And he's critical of business as usual in this whole paragraph. So in this whole passage. So I would go with 1, 2, 3, but there's a chance that 1 and 3 can be right. He's talking about, I mean, should be promoted. He might not say कि उसको बंद कर दो, but would he agree with promotion of that? अगर ये promoted word नहीं रहता, allow trading of shares in the free stock market, it still be something which you cannot clearly say is not in consonance with him. But when you say should be promoted, you are talking about buying and selling, free buying and selling. वो उस सेंटेंस से बहुत क्लियर है कि he will not agree to this कि प्रमोट करो उसको. ठीक है? And patent should be respected. He will not be because patent is about I build this product, so it is my. I will draw the benefits of the product for eternity, and I have got control of this product, and anybody wants to use this product is going to be paying me. He's not going to agree to that. As I said, apply this to the COVID vaccine. When the world was struggling with COVID 1.5 years ago, and vaccines were developed, this was the biggest argument going around. People were talking about whether the patent should be respected or not. Pharmaceutical companies were saying patent should be respected because we have built it, and the world was saying the people who are open and looking at solving the world's problem were talking about give the vaccine for cheaper, give it to everyone. The vaccine hardly reached the third world countries and continents. So the kind of statements the author is making, the kind of argument he is creating in this passage, I don't think he'll be in favor of one. So 15th will be that. Okay, let's look at 16th and 17th now. That quant bit DM I have not solved it, but I solved the other ones. मैं कल जब करूँगा तो मैं तुम लोगों को दिखा. Normal DM तो I think it was pretty much more or less normal. Not from the author's viewpoint. Patent should be respected can be positive aspect. Not, I don't think it's from the author's viewpoint. It is. You think from the author's viewpoint. It is talking clearly about whether this is in concern in this thing. I'm answering your query only. It's positive in some ways, but from the author's viewpoint, it will not be positive. नहीं, पेटेंट एनवायरमेंट के लिए अच्छा नहीं हो सकता. पेटेंट इज प्राइवेट प्रॉपर्टी. ये तो इजी है. 16 वन बी सीधा रहेगा इसका आंसर. पेटेंट का बता दिया ना, कितने बार बताऊंगा. Patent is private property. You are encouraging capitalism through patents, and you are denying part of the world the use of the patented product. Right. So 16th is B very clearly. 17th. Is E. You pass because you have to read this ये statement अगर पढ़ोगे, he doesn't see you as a story though, he feels you as an atmosphere. ये he जो बात कर रहा है, it's your past self, and for him you are the atmosphere. That means he is inside you. Your past self is inside you. So your present subsumes your past. This is the clear answer in this question. चलो 18 देखते हैं. क्या इसमें तो ये रहेगा 17 तो डेफिनेटली ही रहेगा. You are an extension of the past कैसे रहेगा 17 में? See, the poem is talking about you, the slow person left behind. So there was a slow person inside you, the younger version of you, the child version of you, kind of thing. Where is he while you walk around the shaved lawn in your plus fours? That means now you're very successful. And you're an achiever, you have reached the point where the world listens to you. But where is the slow person you left behind? You yourself. Where is he? So then he says, oh, I've come across him. Yes, I have more than once. Coaxing his battered grocery cart down the freeway Meridian. Others see in you sundry mythic types distinguished not just in themselves but by the stories we put them in, with beginnings and surprises. The baby octopus on the hillside with his broken feet, or the dog whose barking saves the grandmother. ये इतना important नहीं है. He doesn't see you as a story though. He feels you as an atmosphere. When your sun shines, he chortles. So this is the child inside you. This guy is the child inside you. When the sun shines, he chortles. That means he laughs. When your barometric pressure drops and the thunderheads gather, he huddles under the overpass and writes me long letters with the stubby little pencils he steals from the public library. He asks me to look out for you. So he is the person inside you who's the past part of you, who's the past version of you. You've left him behind, mostly, but he still exists. You're an extension of the past is not right here. Extension would mean that you're just the same person. Right? Narrative of the past is also wrong because narrative means you're a story of the past. That will also not fit in. Your present subsumes the past is what I would go with in this case. ठीक है? I think 35 के आसपास 99% पे ला जाना चाहिए. 35 marks पे. Let's look at 18th. 2 marks less. 98% will be 3 marks less maybe. 32. एक बार फिर से पढ़ना पड़ेगा, मेरे को याद नहीं होता अच्छे से पैराग्राफ पैसेज. इसका ई रहेगा 18th का. Clearly from the last line. So what we do is we don't take into account how previous tasks took how much time, similar tasks took how much time for us, and we don't account for hurdles and unforeseen problems and accidents when we are estimating time. So we underestimate the time. So straight answer is E, according to me. ठीक है 19th. इसमें बी और डी के बीच में हूं मैं. लेकिन आई विल गो विद डी मोर देन बी इन दिस बिकॉज ऑफ द फैक्ट दैट अगर अगर थॉट प्रोसेस देखो, बी इज मोर डेफिनेशन ऑफ प्रोक्रेस्टिनेशन. A is also a definition of procrastination only. The question is asking infer. Which of the following can be best inferred? So you're looking for an inference. क्षितिज, पिछले क्वेश्चन में, पोएम वाले क्वेश्चन में तुमको अपना थॉट नहीं लगाना. यू थिंक अबाउट व्हाट द ऑथर इज सेइंग. I'm not very clear about this answer, very frankly. लेकिन बी बी कवर कर रहा है, लेकिन इट्स नॉट एन इन्फ्लुएंस देन ना. बी तो सीधा बोला हुआ है पैसेज में. इग्नोरेंस यहां से कंक्लूड कर सकते हो फर्स्ट लाइन से. फर्स्ट लाइन ऑफ द पैराग्राफ, इट मस्ट बी बिकॉज वी डोंट नो व्हाट्स राइट. सोक्रेटिस के मीनिंग से. लीनियर थिंकिंग कहाँ पे लिखा हुआ है इसमें? A भी सही है, B भी सही है. B is a better definition of than A. और extreme inference करोगे तो DR है. कि procrastination is an act against our own interest because of ignorance. So it depends on what the question setter is thinking. इसको छोड़ देते हैं. I think we are not going to get an answer on this. मतलब if I had to mark, I would mark B, but I would not question the questions that will be saying B in this. A से better B है because B covers more angles than A. एक चीज और है इसमें, मतलब यहाँ पे अगर देखो, if you see, he's not defined procrastination anywhere except this line here. When we put off preparing for that meeting by telling ourselves that we'll do it tomorrow. So यहाँ पे इस लाइन के पहले, इस पॉइंट के पहले अगर देखोगे तो he is not told us that procrastination is delaying task. Right? So इसको छोड़ देते हैं. I mean, if I had to mark an answer for myself, I would mark B, but I'll not ask you guys to go with that as कि D मैंने mark किया तो +1 है और B किया तो -0.25 है. It can be B equally this thing because it's very very fine-tuned with respect to what the question setter is thinking. मतलब यूपीएससी सीसैट में तो ये इन्फर्ड वाले स्टेटमेंट को उल्टा ही बोलते हैं. इन्फ्रेंस और कंक्लूजन में कोई फर्क नहीं करते, और इन्फ्रेंस, कंक्लूजन और एजम्पशन में इन्फ्रेंस आ जाता है, इन्फ्रेंस में एजम्पशन आ जाता है. वहां तो एकदम क्योस रहता है सीसैट पेपर में. मैनेजमेंट पेपर में एक्सपेक्ट दैट इन्फ्रेंस विल बी समथिंग दैट इज नॉट स्टेटेड इन द पैसेज. तो एक फैक्टर है यहाँ पे कि इस पॉइंट के पहले उसने प्रोक्रेस्टिनेशन को डिफाइन ही नहीं किया. Socrates believed that procrastination was strictly speaking impossible since we could not want what is bad for us. If we act against our interest, it must be because we don't know what's right. So that means इस sentence में procrastination बोला ही नहीं कुछ. They have not defined it. Lowenstein similarly is inclined to see the procrastinator led astray by the visceral rewards of the present. यहाँ पे procrastinator कौन है? वो टास्क को डिले कर देता है. ये तो हम लोग समझ रहे हैं procrastination meaning से, because we know the word. Otherwise, they have not defined procrastination. As the 19th century Scottish economist Rondre put it, the prospects of future good, which future years may hold on us, seem at such a moment dull and dubious, and are apt to be slighted. Now, यहाँ पे थोड़ा सा information आ रहा है कि procrastination का meaning क्या है. But then यहाँ से अगर इस sentence से अगर तो meaning निकाल रहे हो कि procrastination means delaying your task. So then from this sentence, it's more like an inference. But यहाँ पे उसका meaning निकाल रहा है when we put off preparing for that meeting by telling ourselves that we'll do it tomorrow. But again, this as is example से taking it to the meaning of procrastination is actually an inference, if you look at it that way. But extreme inference ये भी है. What can be best inferred from passage about procrastination? I can infer that it is an act against my interest, and it happens because of my ignorance, as Socrates said. So D is also an inference, B is also an inference. A is also an inference. So I don't know what the author of the question will support there. So you can choose to believe that your answer is correct and be happy till Accelerate tells you what the answer is. So let's go to the next one. इसका आंसर ये होगा 20 का. because C नहीं होगा, does not support us with memories. Does not is an extreme statement. The statement here is saying our memory for the intensity of visceral rewards is deficient. When you have deficiency of something, it does not mean the absence of something. So that's why C is not the right answer. देखो verbal में जब तुम तैयारी करते हो, तो if you're going for next year's exams or this thing, you have to remember one thing, that when you're preparing for verbal में क्या होता है, you try to get to, I mean the logic of जैसे quants या DILR में तुम prepare जब करते हो, तो तुम्हारा logic of preparation is कि 100% correct solutions पे आपको पहुंचना है. Verbal में क्या होता है कि you if you're solving 20 questions, you should reach a point where you're 100% sure of 16-17 questions. And you're 70% sure of 3 or 4 questions. That should be your 20 questions for this thing. And then when the actual outcomes come of the 17 that you thought were completely right, you're 100% sure of them, around 90-95% accuracy उसमें रहना चाहिए. And the 3-4 that you thought were most likely right, 70% right, उसमें तुमको करीब 50-60% accuracy रहना चाहिए. So if you're going for CAT 2023 and you plan to solve 24 questions in CAT 2023 for verbal, your skill development process during the process of preparation has to be कि I'll develop my thinking in such a way that I'll get to 18-20 clear answers that I'm sure of the answer, and I'll get to 5-6 answers in which I'm 60-70% sure. So 18-20 clear answers, 19 clear answers suppose तुम्हारा है, उसमें 17 correct हो गए, और बाकी 70% answers उसमें 3 correct हो गए, तो तुमको 20 correct 4 wrong आएगा, तो which will be a score of around 57-58, depending on which ones you got wrong, whether they were TTA questions or not. And 57-58 will be very close to 100% in verbal. That's the ideal skill building process in verbal, right? Because verbal में 2 + 2 नहीं होता है. ठीक है? So we'll come back. We'll come back to this. So I'm not looking at 19th again. So इसमें A answer आएगा. Again, B, our brain does not capture. Does not capture is an extreme statement again. So why not B का answer हुआ है? कि it can't be you can't make a statement that brain does not capture. This reminds me of a CAT 2005 question. जिसमें वो बोला था कि our generation is the first. It was a concluding sentence to the paragraph, and our generation is the first generation that has reached the end of knowledge. How can any generation, any society reach the end of knowledge? It's not possible, because the dimension of knowledge will keep going ahead, going further and further. So that's I don't know Vilasha ma'am ने क्या बोला, क्या logic से बोला, I don't know her also. लेकिन I would mark A in this. C तो definitely नहीं है. The question says our memory for the intensity of visual rewards is deficient. It is not there. ठीक है, तो ये आंसर आएगा इसका 20 का मेरे हिसाब से. Let's look at this. Not associated with bad storytelling. Let's remove the clear options which can be removed. So a bad story is has an inability to create a future image that is positive flourishing. So E we can remove. सी भी मेरे को नहीं दिख रहा है कैसे एसोसिएटेड है बैड स्टोरी टेलिंग से. You can argue that C is associated with bad storytelling because हम लोग के stories अब bad हो गए. You can say that. And B is also what about A? यही लग रहा है मेरे को इसमें. Its ability to create a compelling B. What about B? Compelling. See, when you make a compelling goal for some sections, you kind of you don't have a story which is. See, the question, this thing says a good story, the new story that we want, is a story that will inspire us to achieve our common goals and guide us towards a better future for all sentient beings on our planet. So that means we should not be sectionalized by a good story and a great story, an inspiring story should not be something which should be sectionalized कि हम लोग एशियंस हैं तो हम लोग को ही ग्रोथ मिलना चाहिए या फिर हम ही लोग का एक कंपेनिंग फ्यूचर है और बाकी रेसेस का फ्यूचर नहीं होगा. सो अगर अगर हिटलर का स्टोरी देखो, हिटलर का स्टोरी तो ये था. हिटलर हैड अ वेरी कंपेनिंग गोल फॉर हिज फॉर द for the German nation. So the story Hitler gave to his countrymen was a compelling goal for them, right? But a good story is something which is inclusive. It's not just inclusive of all humans. It's also inclusive of all sentient beings. So A आंसर रहेगा इसका. टोरेंटो का बी रहेगा. Everyone and I are part of the universe. The essence of a good story is that it should be inclusive and should include everybody. So कोई और ऑप्शन दिख रहा है तुम लोग को? 21 तो B मेरे को नहीं लग रहा है because A is looking better to me in 21. I cannot be sure. But 2 plus 2 4 तो होता नहीं है ना verbal में. They were written before 21st century. It's not an association with bad storytelling. No? all the stories we have right now are written before 21st century. तो 21st century के पहले जो stories लिखे थे वो सब क्या सब bad stories थे क्या? मुझे ये लग रहा है इसमें 21 में. Although कल मैंने B mark किया था, very frank, but I am going for A with rereading the passage. सब B बोल रहे हैं. मैंने बाकी लोग का देखा नहीं frankly. So और मैं confused हो जाऊंगा. 95 परसेंटाइल के लिए 29-30 के आसपास होना चाहिए मैंने. देखो मेरे को लॉजिक बहुत क्लियर दिख रहा है बी का. आई डोंट केयर व्हाट अदर्स आर सेइंग. 2 + 2 अगर 4 है तो 4 ही होता है. So if you look at the passage again, I'll explain the logic for why I'm going with A rather than B. This is why we desperately need a new story, a story that will not only help us make sense of the world today, but also unite us as a species of human being. A story that will motivate us to stop bickering and resolve our common problems. A story that will inspire us to achieve our common goals and guide us towards a better future for all sentient beings on our planet. ये सब चीज जो है ना, that's pointing towards that inclusive story is not associated with bad this thing. ठीक है? Okay. So 22 is again B because best captures that essence of a good story. Again from this year's paper was slightly more difficult than last year's. ठीक है? Praku का predictor since you've asked me, मैंने बहुत ही chaos देखा उसके questions में. इसका यही रहेगा 23rd का. Which of the following statements can be associated with the meaning of unreasonable story as used in the passage? So story without connections and coherence. This is not what an unreasonable story means. He's talking about unreasonable story in a positive light. So first statement cannot be unreasonable story. Second statement, a story that talks about recreating the past glory. He's not talking about recreating past glories here. In this case also. A story may not be factually true. This is okay. Your future story need not be factually true. Unreasonable does not mean without coherence. Mm, 16 plus minus 2 will be very good. It will be very clearly above 99.5 types in this thing. ठीक है, a story that is meaningful and compelling for humanity. This is also very important. Meaningful and compelling. तो ये पार्ट होना चाहिए, 4 होना चाहिए, 3 और 4 दोनों होना चाहिए इसमें. I would go with 3 and 4. This one I have not solved. So इसका आंसर मैं मेरे जो आंसर है मैं इसके कल सॉल्व करके इसको अपने इस वीडियो के उसमें डाल दूंगा कमेंट्स में. I'll make it in the pinned comments so you can watch this tomorrow and see this tomorrow. 25-26 में याद नहीं मेरे को exact percentile numbers, but you should get a 90 plus definitely and 90-92 plus के range में आ सकता है 25-26 में best case. चलो, so I hope you enjoyed this session. Thank you so much. and thanks for the participation during the session. And let's see tomorrow DM करते हैं इसको, है ना? चलो, bye bye. Bye bye everybody. Thank you so much. I'll see you tomorrow. Been a long session today. Bye. I hope this helped you. And those of you going for CAT 23, your focus, as I told you in verbal, the focus has to be to get to 20 100% correct answers, or 25 questions, 4 or 5 questions where you are 70% sure, and of your 100% corrects, if you can get 85-90% correct, verbal में 2+2 answers आते नहीं, and that is what you look at. कितनी परसेंटाइल आएगी, कितने में, मेरे को थोड़ा सा स्कोर कार्ड्स एनालाइज करके बताना पड़ेगा, तो गिव मी अ डे, तो कल शायद मैं बता दूंगा इसको, ठीक है? चलो, थैंक्स एवरीबॉडी, बाय बाय, गुड नाइट.